Everybody. I am Blake Cabot. I'm here with Kathy Vergara, and Kathy's a legend. She started this thing with me. She's trained hundreds, if not thousands, of face painters in the New York area, and I met her through a friend of mine at a business roundtable thing, and she's been fantastic. We've had her many times, and I'm thrilled to have her back. So Kathy, like many of you, is trapped in an apartment with small children doing homeschooling, and and she's sewing masks, which I think is kind of cool. That said, we're here today to discuss roses, and I'm thrilled to have Kathy, and she's terrific, and I hope you enjoy this.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back. So we're going to start with a flat brush. I like to use this one right here. This is an Arty Angle by FacePaintcom. I think it's a 1 inch. It's either 1 inch or 3/4, but either one would work. So first we're going to just load up with a split cake. I'm going to use this one. This is Craze. And usually when I do my roses, I like to keep the lighter end of the split cake in the outside, so just so it looks a little bit more realistic, but you can do it either way. So I'm just gonna load back and forth.
Hi, Sandy, Lucy, Kathy, Martinez. So excited about this webinar. That's awesome.
Ooh, thank you.
And if you guys have any questions or whatever, feel free to ask, and I will ask Kathy.
Yeah, totally. Thank you guys for joining us today. So I usually do 2 different kinds of roses, like 2 different ways to do them. So I'm going to show you the one that is easier in my opinion. And I'm just going to start like this. I'm going to lay down like a star pattern. Yeah. And that's mainly just to give me a guide so that I don't make one petal super huge and then I don't have space for the rest of them. And I like doing 5 in the background. So I'm just going to lay the brush down, kind of wiggle it a little bit, but not too much. And then I'm going to keep going. Right here. And I'm just going to jump around. You don't have to do them, consecutively. Like this. And if they overlap a little bit, that's fine because a real rose will. So once you have this down, you're going to want to let it dry. So I'm going to move on to the middle down here. And you're basically just going to lay your brush down and make like a N shape, kind of. And then you're going to go right to the other side. If you're right-handed, you'd be doing it like this. So just keep in mind that I'm left-handed, so it would probably be backwards for most of you. And like this. And I like to keep the bottom smaller than the top, just so that it doesn't like overwhelm the center of the flower. So after I have those 2 down, I'm going to start on this side, and I'm just going to start right up next to that edge right here. And I'm going to go down and kind of come forward like this. And mainly, I'm just moving the top of my brush. And I'm going to start right here, the opposite end, and I'm going to bring it a little bit on top of that first petal. So like this. And I'm only really using this area because this is really small. So you got to be very gentle with how you make those petals. So this is what the inside, oh, it's kind of bright. Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
It looks like. And we're going to take this little rosebud and we're going to put it right here in the middle. So I always like to say that when I make roses, they kind of have like 3 stages. So we're going to show all 3 of them here. And the first one is just that same first step that we did right there. This is like a tiny rosebud. And I know it doesn't look like much now, but when you add the leaves and all the dots and the everything else, all the other elements of your design, it comes together really nicely. So this is the rosebud. This is like a teenager rose. You know, it's grown a little bit. And then we're gonna have the full grown one right here. So I'm gonna load up my brush a little bit more because I want the white to be very crisp so that I don't lose a lot of the detail in the middle of my rose, because that's what happens a lot. Let me turn this.
Hi, Marina. Hi, Rosa. Hi, Matt.
So what usually happens when I'm teaching is that the brush will be a little bit too wet or it won't be freshly loaded. And then when they try to do this middle area, it'll get smudged and it'll kind of just look like mush. And you want it to be pretty defined. So as you can see, you can clearly see this petal right here. And that's what you want. So you want to make sure that your white is very bright, or whatever color you have on the outside. And now, so as we did the N shape, we're going to do the U shape right underneath, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing. Come around this way. And then right underneath like that. And if you have like another little empty space like I do here, you can just lay your brush down and add another petal like that. Oh, hold on. Oh, here we go. So you can see here that my rose is pretty well filled. And all I did was start with this, then added the other 2 ends to the background here. So these are the 3 stages of my roses. Now, the other way you can do this is by starting from the middle. Instead of the outside and going in, you can start from the middle and move outwards. This way I like because it's very easy to learn, but it kind of limits you to how big your rose can be because you make the biggest petals first. So if you want to start from the inside out, then basically you can just keep on adding petals to the outsides until forever, until you run out of space. So, okay. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do is
Hi, Emma. Hey, Regina. If you guys have any questions, we got Gigi and Denise from Tahoe.
Wow.
Hello, California.
Okay, so here we go, our middle stage rose. And then, so now the difference between this one and the other one is that we're going to start adding petals to the outside of this rose. So we're going to start very close to the top right here. And you're just going to kind of lay it down and bring it around like that. And you're trying to make the illusion that the petals are coming from underneath. So you want to be very close to your rose, just like this. See that? And we're going to put one right here. You're going to lay your brush down and you're going to kind of taper it away. And as you move outwards, the petals are going to get a little bit bigger.
What size brush are you using right now, Michelle?
I believe this is a 3/4 or 1 inch flat. It's the Artie Angle brush from the Paint Pal brush set. Okay, so as you can see towards the edges here.
And what paint are you using?
This is Craze.
I love Craze.
This is the split cake I'm using.
Right. Hey, Patty. Does it have to be angled? Nakia asked.
No, it doesn't have to be angled. Just this brush I like in particular because the bristles are really dense and they don't spread out too much. It happens to be angled, so that's easier for me. But you could also use, a brush like this, which I'll do my next design with that brush so you can see that it's basically the same thing. So I'm just gonna keep on adding. Oh, actually bigger petals to the outside of my rose. And I could keep going until the whole face chart is like built, but you guys get the idea.
Absolutely. Hey, Zuri.
Okay, so we're not going to keep growing this to forever. So I'm just going to show you how you can use the roses with a design. So let me get rid of this. And roses are really versatile. Like
Raquel says that you make this look easy.
a lot of practice. You can make it look easy too. I've been face painting for, I want to say almost 10 years now. So when I first started, my roses definitely did not look like
Hold
this.
it. Wait a minute. 10 years? That put you at like you were doing this when you were 2.5.
Yes, I am almost 13, But no, I think I started when I was like 16, maybe.
Wow. Okay. So you've been face painting a while.
Yeah, actually, then it's more than 10. Well, I mean, professionally, I've been doing it since I was 19. That's when I started working for Blue Balloon. And face painting professionally. 19, so that would be, about 10 years.
Dear Lord.
But when I started, I was 16, so it's a little more than 10 years.
I've got socks older than 16 years old.
Okay, so
hey, Sally.
I'll show you. We're gonna leave this rose right here. Just going to add a couple of rose buds here. And I'm gonna pretend her hair is not here. And we're gonna do another one here. But here you can see what happens when your brush needs to be reloaded, because you can see here that the white is a lot crisper than the white on this side. So the definition in this rose is a lot better than this one. If your paint starts to look like this, then I would suggest reloading just so it looks a little bit brighter. And you can distinguish the different petals from each other, because that's really important with the rose. Since there are so many like elements, like one right on top of the other, if they're not defined, then it can look really messy. So I usually like to dress up my rose designs with a little bit of daisy.
Anna asked again about what brush you were using. Hi, Zuri from New Jersey.
Same brush.
Same brush. I think she might have come in later. What was it again? I forgot.
Oh, sorry. It's the Artie Angle from the Paint Pal collection. I believe it's a 1 inch or 3/4, not sure, but it's an angled flat brush.
Okay.
And so now I'm gonna use this petal, the pretty petal brush to add a little bit of flowery elements to this design, like regular daisies. So I'm just gonna load it with this blue. And this is also craze. You don't want it to be too wet, because then your petals, the color that you have, I'm going to double load this. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to the tip of this blue. And if your brush is too wet, the colors will mix too much and you won't really get the effect that you're looking for with the double load. Usually I do white first and then I double load it with the tip in a different color, but there are no rules. We're all on quarantine, so we're gonna do it back.
Kathy loved the other brush. She has the same one, and she says it's amazing to make roses. So an endorsement.
Oh yeah, it's a really good one. I use it for a lot. Anything that's the split cake related, I usually reach for that one first. So now all I'm gonna do is add a couple of petals, and I like to kind of stick them in the areas between the roses. And all I'm doing is just kind of pushing the brush down like this to get those petals. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this shape.
This is a bedtime activity for some of our viewers.
A bedtime activity?
Yeah, they're watching this. Tracy's watching this in her bed in the UK.
Oh, wow.
So don't use face paint in bed.
You wake up with
That's a pro tip.
Mattress, yeah. Okay, so before I do the white details, we're gonna go in with this flat brush. This one is, I believe it's a 1/2 inch flat brush. This is from the same Paint Pal collection. And I really like this. This size, I believe, is perfect for leaves. Like, it's really, really good for me. So I'm going to take this split cake, and I usually load it with the dark green on the dark green side, but you could also do the light green and just take the bottom 3 colors. But I think the dark green has a little more definition to it. Okay, so now that that's loaded, let me just go over really quick what the leaves look like. Okay. I'm going to lay down a really quick rose. Just that, because that's fastest. Okay. And you can do so many different kinds of leaves. Usually, if you looked at a rose, they have the leaves that kind of look like this. They're kind of like spiky on the ends. So this is the one I'll do when I'm trying to like really put a lot of detail into it, a lot of realism. So the only thing that you need to do with this one is kind of zigzag a little bit. As you're rotating your brush, you're going to kind of zigzag. So you start off kind of with the brush vertical, and you zigzag, zigzag, zigzag until it's more horizontal. And that's where you end. And then to do the other side, you can start from the top right here, or you can start from the bottom. If you start from the top, you're just going to come down and do the opposite. Like that. To finish the leaf. And then use the dark side of the brush to make the little stem in the inside. And then the other way, that's much faster, that I usually do my leaves, are like this. So it's basically the same thing, except no zigzags. So you're kind of doing these little guys like that.
What's the name of the one stroke?
You know, I don't know because my
Yeah, it just came in the palette. Huh?
yeah,
I'll see if I can find it.
but it's the green one that comes with the in the this palette right here, the split cake one.
Yep. It's called Lush.
Lush. There you go. That's a nice name.
It's catchy.
Yeah. Makes me think of like forests and Mother Nature. So the third one that we do, there's a million different kinds of leaves you can do, but this one's just in terms of roses, is kind of like this. I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a little flick leaf. But basically, yeah, I'll do a mixture between this one and this one. If I'm just trying to, do a design, like if I'm on a job and I have to get through my line quickly. So we're going to do a couple of those here. So I'm going to add a couple of leaves, and we're not going to do too many. Or rather, we're not going to do them too large. Because the rose is so humongous and it takes up a lot of the real estate on the forehead, we don't want to overpower the design with like super giant leaves also. You mainly just want to like get that pop of green to complement the design. So for these, I'm just gonna do those like little dagger leaves and kind of house them around the rose buds like that. And I would usually do like a bigger leaf here attached to the main rose. Right there. And I think we can throw one in like right there, just so that the design looks balanced. And the last thing I do with the green is just kind of like these long, pointy kind of leaves. I'll just stick them like around here. And we can get a couple, let's put it here. And it just adds a little bit of interest. Now I'm going to go in with the white and kind of finish up this design. So I'm using a number 1 swirl. And I want it to be kind of like, wet a good amount. Just so that my dots look very round and pretty. And first I'm going to do the middle of the daisies. Just throw a couple dots in the middle there. And I like to like litter these shapes here with some dots. Kind of like baby's breath almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just throw in a few here and there, like wherever I feel like they look nice. Usually I do groups of 3, but you can do whatever makes you happy.
Another question that came in, what practice board is that?
These are the Sparkling Faces practice boards. Yeah, which are amazing. They look so lifelike.
They're great. They really do triple boards. We sell them on FacePaintcom. So
yes, you do. That's where I got mine.
Not right now.
And You could go in with like some swirls and teardrops and stuff, but this design is pretty busy on its own. So I would probably just leave it like this. And that would be, you know, my little rose crown, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm. Your rose crown. Well, it's a good way to learn how to do roses.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't put a leaf in her hair.
Yeah, a tiny leaf in her hair. Let me just... Now I'm going to get rid of this rose crown. And we're going to do kind of like a cheek design.
Okay.
Be very like similar to that one. It's just mainly different placement. Is what's going on.
So we're having, needless to say, webinar kind of every week, like we've been doing. So next on April 20th, next week, we're going to have Marcella Bustamante talking about line work practice. And then I said I wouldn't do it, but we're going to do it. There's a body painting thing with Wolf Reicher, and he is going to do UV black light body painting. And then we're going to have Bianca Hanna, important things to know on April 29th.
Ooh, UV body paint. That's really cool.
UV body painting. It takes courage for me to do body painting, honestly.
Yeah.
It takes a while. It's not something you do
quickly. No, I had to do a body painting for my exit exam in makeup school. And it took me, I mean, about 7 hours almost.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. That was like after I had gotten it down a little bit. When I first did it, it took me maybe like 8, and I cut it down to like 6.5.
Yep.
There's my little star. And once you like really get the hang of it, you can bust out these petals really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. This is usually a little bit lower, like because people usually don't have that much space like right next to their eye. Kind of a little
Speaking
bit.
Which can you move it over a little center on the camera? Oh, that's
sorry.
Fine. Thanks.
Okay. And yeah, so we're gonna go up this way to continue the design. So we're gonna kind of make this shape right here, kind of going along the side of the eye. That's a really it's a good shape. Like it keeps the viewer interested.
Mm-hmm.
Flows very nicely. So I'm going to do the middle one down here, and then like a slightly smaller little bud underneath. So you want to wait for this middle part here to dry. You guys can probably see it's a little bit wet because, or I guess I can show you what happens when you go over wet paint. If you can see what happened there, it kind of smushes it.
Right.
You lose your definition. So I'm just going to reload to get that white back, that bright white. And what I like about slick cakes is that you can just go right over them. See how that's way brighter than it was before? So we're just gonna put little ears.
Somehow the volume's gone off.
The volume? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Like that. And
Mm-hmm.
the top of our design, so it looks like this. And let's do like a little butterfly on this one. So usually when I'm doing like designs that have different elements in them, like flowers and roses or roses and butterflies, I'll pick the color for whatever I'm doing next to be kind of far away from what I'm doing, what I did first, so that they kind of don't like mush together and it looks like all one color. If I'm doing these in pink, I wouldn't pick, like I usually, like sometimes you can, I wouldn't pick something like this because they're very similar colors and the butterfly would kind of get lost in the design.
Right.
So I'm going to kind of just lay it down right here. So you can clearly see, you know, this is not the rose. Like it's kind of hanging out on top of the butterfly. And let's add some leaves. And this time I'm going to use the light green side so you guys can see the difference. And it's also a good idea to switch up the size of the split cake that you use. If you're only using part of it, like I am with the leaves, you end up being finished with all of your darker colors and your lighter colors will still have some. And it'll make it difficult for you to use it with like a 1-inch brush or something. Let's put one here. And then as you can see, these leaves are a lot more yellow than the other ones, which also looks really good because it kind of ties in with the blue over here, the green. And then I'll just throw in, ooh, that one was pretty thick. Remember, we don't apologize.
Never apologize.
Ever. So we're just gonna go.
Yeah. It's wrong to apologize. We know this.
Now I'm going to take this really tiny liner brush. This is a 00 from the Craze brushes line. And I'm going to use that with some black just to outline my butterfly.
Okay.
You could use a thicker brush, but I want to keep this really delicate kind of look to the design. And if you use like a script liner like this, then you'll be able to do that. So super lightly, I'm just going to outline. So he'll just hang out up here while I do the rest of the design. And you could also do the same thing to the leaves in a darker green. So I'm just going to take from this and this really, really dark green that is on the split cake. I really like this green. And this is a really great color to outline your leaves with. Because I don't like to outline everything in black. And it starts to look kind of heavy. It's a little bit more interesting if your designs have a different color outlined in them. So you can see I'm just outlining really lightly. The outlines don't have to be 100% perfect, like at all.
Raquel thinks that's so cute.
Thank you. I'm trying to hold it so you guys can see the colors better. So you want to have a really like super light hand when you're using a brush like this.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get the like that really dainty effect. It looks so delicate. And pretty. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to
Dean asked for one last rose at the end.
one last rose at the end.
I think we're doing a couple designs, Colleen, if that's right. If that
Yeah. I'm going to show you really quick how you can bring back a rose that maybe your paint was too wet or you didn't let it dry that much or you didn't have time to let it dry. And if your colors got kind of smushed and muddy, like in here, like pretty defined, this one's pretty bright. You can see each individual petal. But if it wasn't, or maybe I can just do one that's kind of like mushed. I'm just going to add my baby's breath dots. Now you can do them in a straight line, like this. Or you can mix it up and you can do them in the groups of like 3, 4, or 5, like that. Here we go. You can see this design. Let me try to. Okay. So now I'm going to do one like right here. And I'm going to kind of leave it wet. Let's do it. I'm not going to reload my brush. So you can see the white is not very bright here. And I'm just going to go right on top. Okay, so if you can see this, it looks like mush, right? There's not a lot of definition in the petals going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So that usually happens when you don't reload your brush or you don't wait for the bottom layer to dry before you do the top. And what you can do to help that is you can go in with whatever color you were using, your lightest color. I put a little, oh, here we go. I put a little bit of white in there just to brighten it up a little bit. This is like a very light pink. And I'm going to take this script liner.
Deanna asked how long you were face painting. 10 years, we were told earlier.
Yeah.
And
professionally, 10 years.
Yeah. Diana's been painting 5 years, and she loves this.
Oh, wow. You're basically a pro. 5 years is a long time.
5 is a long time. That's true.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to go right over here. And so I just took this pink, this lightest pink that I had over here, and I added a little bit of white to it to kind of brighten it up. And what I'm going to do is very lightly kind of outline where my petals are underneath, because you can still kind of see where they are, but from a distance they look kind of muddy.
Mm-hmm.
You can see I've only done the middle right here and it already looks more defined.
Right.
I'm going to go over this one, and you want it to be pretty light. Very thin. You're just kind of suggesting where your petals are supposed to lie.
Mm-hmm.
This. This is why I use the color that's close to whatever color was on the outside, because sometimes if you use straight white, it can be like very overpowering to your design.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really want those bright white lines. You just kind of want to define what's already there. Okay. So now this is what you can do.
Very good design.
That that hasn't been as defined as you want it to be. And sometimes if I have time, I would take like a dry brush and kind of just like melt these edges a little bit to even more blend that outline, just so it looks more natural and less like cartoonish, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to do this when your lines are still a little bit wet. If they're dry, like this one right here is dry, so it's not going to blend as well. But this one right here was still wet, so I did a good job blending. And you're just kind of getting rid of the harsh lines a little bit.
Diana asked, what kind of designs do you like to paint the most?
Probably butterflies, because like that's the one I get requested for the most. Mm-hmm. Butterflies are my jam. I think we did a butterflies class recently.
Yeah, we did.
And we went, I think, how many did we do? Like 8 or something?
It was a lot of butterflies.
Yeah, we got through a lot.
We got through a lot.
You guys hung in there with me for quite a while. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of her. Look how clean these boards wipe off. Oh my gosh. My other practice board could never.
I remember your other practice board.
Yeah, she was Struggle City, but this one is a really nice upgrade. So, speaking of butterflies, I can show you the roses. Let me load this up really quick. I'm going to use this one, and I'm just going to kind of squish up my sponge so that I can get it loaded, even though I would usually use a full-sized cake for it. But look, there we go. Magic. I'm going to go right over the eyes and just have it bounce there like this. Flip over to the other side. More bouncing. And of course your model's eyes would be closed. So none of this paint going in there would actually be happening. I'm gonna flip it over to the underside. And now your sponging, your background doesn't have to be perfect, because we're gonna put a few things on top. Like you're gonna outline it, and we're gonna have a few more other design elements.
Hmm.
If you're like on the job and you're trying to get through a long line, you don't have that much time. Don't stress out too much about your background because I always tell my students like outline where you wish your background had been, and the tiny little spaces like the eye doesn't even catch it when they're looking at the design as a whole. So now I'm just going to let's use a smaller brush. I'm going to take this flat brush right here and let's get a different color. What color can we use? Okay.
Diana loves butterflies, but she also likes tigers and Pikachu.
Pikachu is kind of difficult for me. Like just characters in general are like my nemesis. But tigers, yes, absolutely love painting tigers. I could do a tiger in like 1 minute from like start to finish and move on to the next child. And they usually look so like impressive, like you put a lot of work into it,
Hmm.
really super fast. So kids are happy, you're happy. It's just a win-win with the tiger.
Do they know your emphasis? I mean, do they have personal, they're against you personally?
Oh yeah. I've
Okay.
I've been sent like lots of hate mail by characters. They hate me because I don't know, it's just they're not my thing. Like I can't get down how we're supposed to like make the faces and the arms and like the body shapes.
Hmm.
Not my thing. Like you want me to teach you about butterflies and flowers and abstract designs? No. I'm your girl. If you want me to show you how to paint a figure, like a person or a character, I can't help you.
No can do.
No. There's a few that I'm okay with, but for the most part, it's not my thing.
No shame in that.
Yeah, we stick to our strengths. And if that ever happens to you at a job, what I always tell the girls is just give out options because the worst thing you want, like if you don't have a sign up with like pictures and things that you can do, then they're gonna be sitting there thinking forever unless you tell them, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? And
Hmm.
make sure those options that you're giving are ones that you can do confidently, easily, quickly, and it'll be a win-win. Because it's rare that a child will pick something completely like left field from what you suggested.
Hmm.
No, it does happen, but for the most part, they're good with following your lead. So we're just gonna fix this right here. I
Uh,
always suggest.
he says character. She tells the kids to bring a photo of it on their phone. If it can be simplified, it can paint it onto their face or arm.
Oh, I'm always looking on my phone. My phone is with me the entire time I'm face painting because you get some super obscure requests sometimes. And even something that I know what it is, like a Pikachu, like I can tell you what Pikachu looks like. But if you ask me to draw Pikachu without a picture in front of me, I'd be hard pressed to do it.
Right.
But I'm always on my phone. I'm always using Google to search for an image. Because at least that I can do. If I have it right in front of me, a picture of it, and you want me to draw a character, it'll take a little bit longer, but I can copy a photo pretty easily. But just coming from my mind
Hmm.
is not so easy for me.
Yeah, Diane, I don't know why we're talking about Pikachu so much, but I don't know. Do the Pikachu as a cheek design only on the head, on the forehead, or as an eye design? It's not that difficult.
Yeah, when the only times I've done Pikachu has just been like right here. Just had like his head and then his
Hmm.
arms like right here, and then maybe the tail in the background, and that's about it.
Diane, I'll
You're
send
not
you a
gonna
picture.
see me running around doing full full Pikachu bodies. That would be crazy. So these are just a few roses that I put down right here. And now I'm getting the green to throw some leaves in there. And I'm going to use the darker green just because in my background that I sponged has a lighter green in it already, and I don't want to lose that definition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody asked me, yeah, the website, FacePaintcom's been, we had somebody that was sick at the warehouse last week. And so we were down to sort of one person. So we had to shut everything down, just get the orders out from the weekend before. And the person is, she's better.
Goodness.
Yeah, which is a good thing. So she's feeling okay. But she was achy and had headaches, and it sounds exactly like coronavirus. And so we're more or less operational now. She's back, and by next week we'll be fine. And I think they're gonna be able to get most of the orders out. So I think if you guys want to order something, even though it says we're not shipping, we're probably shipping. It may take a day or two, but it'll get out.
That's good news.
It is good news.
Now is the best time to practice and perfect your craft.
Yeah, but sadly, it's a little rough on everybody. Of course, I know because
Of course,
because nobody's got jobs. So I know you guys can't buy face paint. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Because it's
included.
money you don't have.
Yeah, because if I'm not doing face painting, then I do makeup, and that's not happening anytime soon either.
The social economy is just not around. They reopened Spain and Italy today or yesterday, and they still don't have anything like birthday parties and gatherings and stuff. They just opened up businesses. So, for what it's worth.
Well, I like to look on the bright side.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I like all this time I'm getting to spend with my kids. And, I'm happy for the planet that it's getting a break from pollution.
It is getting a break from pollution. That part's for sure. It's not having a rough moment.
Yeah. I mean, everything is kind of up in the air right now. But at least
what brush did you use for the leaves?
Oh, this just a flat, I think 1/2 inch. It's already brushed small from the paint pal.
Nikia, you said still learning only for practice on my daughter. She's new. She's going for what sort of sanitation info can we provide to customers? People are hypersensitive now. We did a webinar I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, which is all about safety and COVID. And I think there's kind of a whole process of how you clean your face paint, and I'm not going to give it justice. That was Beth McKinney, and it was about maybe 3 weeks ago.
That was Beth's video, right?
Yeah, and that really covered a lot of that in detail. I mean, the main thing is just to make sure you're using brushes on everybody, and you're keeping but yeah.
So if you were trying to be super sanitary, you use a different sponge for each kid. You try to use a different brush. You could use the brush bath that sanitizes, it kills a lot of germs if you keep it in your brush water, and if you use it to clean your brushes with.
Mm-hmm.
Helps.
Yeah.
Refusing to paint anybody who has a cold or looks like they have something that could be contagious, you can offer a tattoo maybe Like I usually have a few tattoos on hand
Hmm.
and offers just so that they don't leave with nothing. You know, people are usually pretty okay with that.
Hmm.
So here's like a rose butterfly, I guess you could call it. And there's a lot more you can put on it, but we're not going to go too much into detail.
Okay.
I want to.
Colleen didn't understand what you said about the flat brush on the leaves. Could you just repeat that?
Oh, this is the brush. It's an Artie Brush Small from the Paint Pal collection.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Sandy. That was just a wee bit off. She wanted to know how you did the bottom wing, but I think we're going to have to move on to the next design. Well, actually, we're finished. Dear Lord, it's 6:57 already. Time flies when you're having fun.
It sure does.
It does.
I wanted to fit one more. Let's fit just the tattoo rose.
Whatever you can do in 3 minutes.
Come on, you know I'm fast.
I know you're fast.
Come on. So this just to show you guys a different way you can design a rose.
I love the fact that you still have a tag on the brush.
Oh yeah, I don't even take them off.
Okay.
So this is basically you're doing the same old thing.
It's gonna be hard because it's gonna be wet, isn't it?
Yes, but we're gonna relook so that you can't tell so much that there's not a lot of definition inside. See how bright that is? Okay, so I'm gonna leave that here, and then I'm gonna add a couple of leaves.
Marta asked, I'm sorry I missed this a little bit ago, because I don't really look in the Q&A as much, is the inspiring us during quarantine. What are some other examples of accents we can use in rose designs?
Other examples of accents? You mean like what to put around them?
Mm-hmm.
You can do butterflies like I did with this design. You can do smaller flowers. You can do dots. You can do teardrops. You can do. I'm gonna show you how to do the tattoo rose, which is another like just a way you can design outside your roses. So really quick, what I'm gonna do is kind of outline my rose in a black with a script liner. This is a 00 from Craze. And this has kind of more of like a darker feel. Usually I'd use this for a teenager or an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to get heavy on the black with the younger ones. And then from here, you just kind of embellish it with some swirls. And some teardrops. So it kind of looks like a tattoo, basically.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see.
Yeah.
This one is really popular. Because once somebody can see that you can give them something that'll look like a tattoo, they're all over it. I can't even count how many times I've been asked, "Oh, so you do face painting? Does that mean you're a tattoo artist? Or you draw tattoos? You do tattoos for people?" Like people are really excited about tattoos.
Hmm.
So this is just
Colleen says, nice work. Thanks for doing the class. Roses are my weakness, and I've been painting for 25 plus years. The last one you did really help. Thanks again for the great work.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Colleen.
25 years. You're way more experienced than me.
Yeah, you're halfway there.
Yeah, almost. You've been painting for almost as long as I've been alive. So good for you. Like, I'm very impressed. Okay, so without adding too much of the flourishes and stuff, so you guys can get the general idea here. This is to be like a tattoo kind of rose.
Okay.
And
wow, that was fast.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope I gave you some tips you can use, at least to practice while we're all stuck at home.
Exactly. Laura says, thank you for your work. You're fast. And your instructions primo. So thank you everybody. So thank you, Kathy, for coming on. We'll have you again soon. And thank you all for joining us. And like everything, stay safe.
Stay safe and stay home.
This is stay safe, stay home. This is all going to pass at some point. And this is something to tell the grandchildren about, I guess. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.